All right, welcome back. Today I'm going to be doing COMM 223 Chapter 6, Understanding Consumer and Business Buyer Behaviors. So let's look at the legend. So anything already highlighted in yellow is our chapter title. Anything in blue is our heading. And anything in green or light green is our subheading. So let's look at the main points I'm going to be talking about today. So number one, understand the consumer market and the major factors that influence consumer buyer behaviors. So consumer market and the factors on consumer buyer behaviors. Number two, identify and discuss the stages in the buyer decision process. So the buyer decision process. Three, describe the adoption and diffusion process for new products. Adoption and diffusion process. Four, define the business market and identify the major factors that influence business buyers' behavior. So the business market we're going to be talking about compared to the consumer market and the major factors that influence business buyer behaviors. And then five, list and define the steps in the business buying decision process. So the business buying decision process. So as you can see from the main points, the first part of it is looking at the consumer market and consumer buyer behavior. The second part of it is looking at the business market and the business buyer behavior. So let's start with number one, consumer markets and consumer buyer behavior. So number one, consumer markets and consumer buyer behaviors. So consumer buyer behavior refers to the buying behaviors of final consumers, individuals and households that buy goods and services for personal consumption. Consumer market is the combination of all final consumers to make up the consumer market. Consumers vary in age, income, education, the things they like as in age, as in taste, and variety of goods and services. So let me highlight that. So what is consumer behavior? So consumer purchase decisions can become very complex. An example of this is a consumer buying a coffee goes through a different decision-making process than one who buys a house. Companies research consumer buying decisions as in what consumers buy. So let me highlight that. What the consumers buy, where they buy, how and how much, when do they buy, and why do they buy. So marketers now realize the importance of studying consumer behavior before, during, and after purchases, and it is all equally as important. So some issues that arise during stages in the consumption process. So let's look at this. So we here on the left side, we have consumer perspective. And in the right, we have marketer's perspective. So the pre-purchase, this is before. It's how does a consumer decide that he or she needs a product? What are the best sources of information to learn more about alternative choices? Compared to the marketer's perspective, how are consumer attitudes towards products formed and changed? What cues do consumers use to infer which products are superior to others? So this is before. Now, during the purchase, of the consumer's perspective, we have, is acquiring a product a stressful or pleasant experience? What does the purchase say about the consumer? And then from the marketer's perspective, we have how do situational factors such as time, pressure, or store displays affect the consumer's purchase decision? Now we have after purchases or post-purchase issues. So from the consumer's perspective, we have, does the product provide pleasure or perform its intended function? How is the product eventually disposed of? And what are the environmental consequences of this act? The marketer's perspective after a purchase is what determines whether a consumer will be satisfied with a product and whether he or she will buy it again. How does this person tell others about his or her experiences with the product and effect during purchase decisions? So characteristics affecting consumer behavior. Consumers are influenced strongly by cultural, social, personal, and psychological characteristics. So cultural factors, marketers need to understand the role played by the buyer's culture, subculture, and social class. So here, this diagram on the bottom just shows all the characteristics that I'll be going through. So culture, you have culture, subculture, and social class. Social, you have reference groups, family, roles, and status. Personal, you have the age and life cycle stage, the occupation, the economic situation, your lifestyle, the personality, and self concept. Psychological, you have the motivation, you have perception, you have learning, beliefs, and attitudes. And then finally, you have the buyer. So, we're going to be talking about cultural first. So, culture, human behavior is largely learned from its culture. A child learns basic values, perceptions, wants, and behaviors. Marketers are always trying to find cultural shifts and discover products that will be wanted in the future. An example of this is the health and fitness industry after COVID. As we could see that the health and fitness industry was a product that was a want by many people because of how they realized health and the fitness during the COVID years of being locked inside and not being able to do physical activities. So in culture, you have a subculture. So each culture contains smaller subcultures or groups of people with shared value systems based on common life experiences and situations. Examples of this is nationalities, religions, racial groups, geographic regions. Cross-cultural marketing, appealing to consumer similarities across subcultures rather than differences. So social class. Social classes are society's relatively permanent and ordered divisions whose members share similar values, interests, and behaviors. Social class is determined by a combination of occupation, income, education, wealth, etc. Social factors. So a consumer's behavior is also influenced by social factors, such as the consumer's small groups, social networks, their family, and social roles and status. So membership groups is direct influence into which a person belongs. Reference groups serves as a direct face-to-face interaction of comparison informing attitudes and behaviors. Aspirational groups are a group in which an individual wishes to belong to. So in the future, this person would like to be part of this type of group. That would be an example of an aspirational group. Word of mouth influence. So impact of personal words and recommendations of trusted friends, associates, and other consumers on buying behaviors. This is what word of mouth is. Studies have shown that word of mouth is one of the greatest influence on buying behavior because we trust our friends, we trust our associates, and we trust the people that we've learned from, we've known for a longer time instead of just some ad that we see once or twice. So, opinion leaders, so people within a reference group who, because of special skills, knowledge, personality, exert a social influence on others. So, this could be like celebrities who give their opinions and stuff or anything like that. So, online social networks, it's online communities where people socialize, exchange information and opinions. Family is the family so family is the most important consumer buying organization in society. It's what you're born into, the people you're born around. And so these, in the book, they say that the family actually affects your social factors and your social behaviors the most. So roles and status. So a person belongs to many groups, families, clubs, organization, online communities. However, that person's position in each group can be defined in terms of both role and status. So everyone has a role and status in any group. So let's say family, your role would be, let's say if you're the son, you have less of a role since you don't really take care of the house bills, you don't take care of many of the things that your dad or mom would do. So role, it's the activities people expect to be performed according to the people around them. Each role has a status reflecting the general esteem given to it by society. So personal factors. Buyers' decisions are influenced by personal characteristics such as the buyer's age and life cycle stage, occupation, economic situation, lifestyle, and personality and self concept. Age and life cycle stage. People change the goods and services they buy over their lifetimes, such as food, clothes, furniture, etc. Life cycle stages changes through marriage, children, purchasing a home, divorce, children going to university, personal income, and retirement. Occupation is a person's occupation affects the goods and services bought. That occupation is normally the job that you have. Economic situation, and a person's economic situation will affect their product choices. Marketers redesign, reposition, and reprice their products and services according to economic downturns. Lifestyle, people coming from the same subculture, social class, and occupation may have quite different lifestyles. It involves measuring the consumer's activities, such as work, hobbies, shopping, sports, and social events, their interests, such as food, fashion, family, recreation, and opinion about themselves, opinions on social issues, businesses, and products. So, personality and self concept. Personality refers to the unique psychological characteristics that distinguish a person. Personality is usually described in traits such as self confidence, dominance, sociability, autonomy, defensiveness, adaptability, aggressiveness. So, brand personality, it's traits that may be attributed to a particular brand: sincerity, excitement, competence, sophistication, and ruggedness. So, psychological factors. A person's buying choices are further influenced by four major psychological factors: motivation, a person has many needs, biological needs such as hunger, thirst, or discomfort, and psychological needs such as recognition, self esteem, and a sense of belonging. Your motive is a need that is sufficiently pressing to direct a person to seek satisfaction. Motivation research is qualitative research designed to prove consumers' subconscious motivations. So here you have Maslow's hierarchy of needs. I'm sure you guys have already seen this before, so I'll just go through it really quick. So at the bottom of the needs, it's the most basic needs to the most prominent needs. So we have psychological needs as our most basic. It's the hunger and thirst. Next, you have safety needs such as security and protection. Next, you have social needs such as sense of belonging and love. Then you have esteem needs such as self-esteem, recognition, and status. And then self-actualization needs as the self-development and realization. So perception. How the person acts is influenced by their perception of the situation. The process by which people select, organize, and interpret information to form a meaningful picture of the world. Learning. Learning describes changes in individuals' behavior arising from experience. Learning occurs through interplay and of drives, stimuli, cues, responses, and reinforcement. These are all of these are effects of the brain. So when we do something, we have a stimuli effect. We have some cues that maybe trigger us to do something. We have just responses to things that are automatic, and reinforcement. So how we feel to when our parents take our phone away for not doing our homework or something like that. So we learn from things like that. So beliefs and attitudes. So belief is a descriptive thought that a person holds about something. Beliefs may be based on real knowledge, opinion, or faith. Attitude describes a person's relatively consistent evaluations, feelings, and tendencies towards an object or idea. 2. The buyer decision process. We looked at the influences that affect buyers. Now we look at how consumers make buying decisions. The buyer decision process, so the need recognition, the information search, evaluation of alternatives, purchase decision, and post-purchase behavior. Need recognition is the buyer recognizes a problem or need. The need can be triggered by stimuli such as hunger or thirst. Marketers research consumers to find out what kind of needs or problems arise, what brought them about. Information search is that consumers will pay more attention and search for information for their needs. Example of this is consumer needs a new car and will pay attention and search for information about this car or about cars in general. So consumers obtain information from personal sources, public sources, commercial sources, and experiential sources. So evaluation of alternatives. So evaluation of alternatives is how consumers process information to choose among brands. Consumers can be careful and calculated, logical thinkers. Some do little or no evaluating at all. Purchase decision. There are two factors that shape the purchase decision: attitudes of others. If someone important thinks you should buy the lowest price product, chances are you're more likely to listen to them. Unexpected situational factors form purchases around expected income, expected price, and expected product benefits. Post purchase behavior. So, after purchasing the product, the consumer will either be satisfied or dissatisfied, which lies in the relationship between the consumer's expectations and the product's performance. Dissatisfied is equal to product. Dissatisfied just means that product falls short of expectations. So let me put that in orange. So dissatisfied means that products fall short of expectations. Satisfied, I'll put this in green, means that the product meets expectations, or if it exceeds expectations. So post-purchase cognitive dissonance. So no matter what choice they make, consumers always feel at least some post-purchase dissonance for every decision. So that means that if you're really excited about a bag and if that bag meets your expectations, you'll feel a little bit of sadness, or just the level of happiness you thought you would have achieved when buying that purse or bag won't be as high, and it might lower and lower as you purchase the product. So this is pretty much what it's explaining. So 3, buyer decision process for new products. So a new product is a good or service or idea that is perceived by some potential customers as new. Adoption process, it's mental process through which individuals pass from first hearing the product then to adopting to use it. So these are the stages in the adoption process. So there are 5 stages in the process of adopting a new product. You have awareness. So the consumer becomes aware of the new product but lacks information about it. Interest. So the consumer seeks information about the new product. Evaluation. Consumer considers whether trying the new product makes sense. Then you have trial. So consumers tried the product. So this should write tried. I'll just write it like that. So tried the product on a small scale to estimate its value. Adoption, consumer decides to make full and regular use of the new product. They adopt the product into their livelihood. So influence of product characteristics on rate of adoption. So relative advantage, it's the degree to which the innovation appears superior to existing products. Compatibility is the degree to which the innovation fits the values and experiences of potential consumers. Complexity is the degree to which the innovation is difficult to understand or use. Divisibility is the degree to which the innovation may be tried on a limited basis. Communicability is the degree to which the results of using the innovation can be observed or described to others. So let's look at 4, business markets and business buyer behavior. So some companies sell most of their products to other businesses. Business buyer behavior is buying behavior of the organizations that buy goods and services for use in the production of other products and services that are sold, rented, or supplied to others. Business buying process. So business buyers determine which products and services their organizations need to purchase, and then they find, evaluate, and choose among alternative suppliers and brands. So business markets, let's dive deeper into that. So business markets involve far more dollars and items than do consumer markets. An example of this is the business transaction for a single set of Goodyear tires. You have the suppliers that sell rubber, suppliers that sell steel, another supplier that sells equipment, and all other goods that it needs to produce the tires, and they're all bought by Goodyear. So business markets differ from consumer markets in the market structure and demand, the nature of the buying unit, and types of decisions and the decision process. So let's look at that. So let's look at market structure and demand. So business marketers deal with fewer but larger buyers than the consumer markets. These are derived. Derived demand means that business demand is derived from the demand for consumer goods. So if consumers really like a certain product, then the business will demand more of that product. Inelastic and more fluctuating demand. So business markets are inelastic, which means the quantity of demand is not responsive to changes in price. Business markets also fluctuate demand, which means the quantity demanded varies over time. The nature of the buying unit. So business purchase involves more decision participants and more professional purchasing effort. The types of decision and the decision process. So business buyers face more complex buying decisions than do consumer buyers. Business purchases often involve a large sums of money, complex technical and economic considerations, and interactions among people at many levels of the buyer's organization. Business buying process is no longer or is longer, and more formalized with product specifications, purchase orders, careful supplier searches, and formal approval. Supplier development, it's development of network of supplier partners to ensure an appropriate and dependable supply of products and materials for use in the making products or reselling them to others. So business buyer behavior. So marketers want to know how business buyers will respond to various marketing stimuli. So in figure 6.6, right underneath this text, it's within the organization, the middle part, so this part here, consists of the buying centers. The buying center is right here, which is the yellow, So this is the buying center, composed of all the people involved in the buying decision process. So this is all the people they're talking about. So the model shows that the buying center and the buying decision process are influenced by internal organizational, interpersonal, and individual factors, as well as external environmental factors. So you could see here, so you guys could pause it if you want. I won't dive too deep into it, but it's pretty self-explanatory. So you have the environment. This is affected by the buying organization, and the buying organization is helpful and delivers the buyer responses. And the environment is made up of marketing stimuli and other stimuli. So here, the buying organization, like I explained, is made up of the buying center and the buying decision process. And your buyer responses are all of these here. So major types of buying situations. One, you have the straight rebuy. So buyers reorder something without any modification. Two, modified rebuy, a business buying situation in which the buyer wants to modify product specification, prices, terms, or suppliers. Three, new task, a business buying situation in which the buyer purchases a product or service for the first time. Four, system selling or solution selling, buying a packaged solution to a problem from a single seller, thus avoiding all the separate decisions involved in a complex buying situation. So major influences on business buyers. So we can see here the influences on business buyers. So the environmental, organizational, interpersonal, and individual. So you guys could pause it and just take a look at all the environmental, organizational, interpersonal, and individual that influence buyers. So the buying business process. So there are 8 stages of the business buying process. Yeah. So one, problem recognition. So when someone in the company recognizes a problem or need that can be met by acquiring a specific product or service. Two, general need description. Describes the characteristics and quantity of the needed items or solutions. Three, product specifications. So the use of product value analysis, an approach to cost reduction in which the company carefully analyzes a product or service component. Four, supplier search. So to find the best vendors, buyers can locate qualified suppliers to find the best vendors. Buyers can locate qualified suppliers through trade directories, computer researches, and recommendations from others, like word of mouth. 5, proposal solicitation. So the buyer invites qualified suppliers to submit proposals. Supplier selection. Buyer will consider many supplier attributes and their relative importance. Attributes include a product and service quality, reputation, on-time delivery, ethical corporate behavior, honest communication, and competitive prices. Order routine specification. This includes the final order with the chosen supplier or supplier and lists items such as technical specifications, quantity needed, expected time of delivery, return policies, and warranties. 8, and the last one, you have performance review. So the buyer assesses the supplier's performance and provides feedback. So here on the diagram 6.8, you have the stages of the buying process. This is just a visualization of it. Thank you.